NFL stadiums are built for noise and rivalry, but some fans forget where the line is. A fan hits him up on the head, and then hits Lamar Jackson, stemming from a fan who put hands on Lamar Jackson and DeAndre Hopkins. Jackson pushes the fan back, with both obviously in the wrong there. And he was instantly erased from NFL stadiums to a viral misogynistic tirade that cost a man his job and a lifetime ban from his own team's arena. An Eagles fan is banned from Lincoln Financial Field, and tonight we've learned he's also out of a job. These are the NFL fans who crossed the line and paid for it. The Lamar Jackson and DeAndre Hopkins shove highlights how disrespectful behavior from fans is usually written off as part of sports culture, but sometimes it crosses a line with real consequences. One of the clearest examples came during a heated matchup at Highmark Stadium when a Buffalo Bills fan went from heckling to physical contact with NFL players and paid the price for it. As the Baltimore Ravens continued to score in a tense primetime game, frustration boiled over in the stands. After a spectacular one-handed touchdown catch by Ravens wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins in the third quarter, Ravens players walked along the edge of the field near the crowd. During that moment, a Bills fan struck Hopkins on the helmet. Moments later, the same fan hit Lamar Jackson on the head with enough force to visibly snap his helmet backward. Jackson immediately reacted, shoving the fan back into the stands before security intervened. The exchange happened in full view of cameras and fans, instantly spreading across social media. Jackson later explained that he saw Hopkins get hit first and reacted on instinct, admitting afterward that he let his emotions take over and should have allowed security to handle it. The incident did not end there as Baltimore extended its lead later in the game. Another object believed to be a water bottle was thrown from the stands toward Ravens running back Derrick Henry after a touchdown. The bottle narrowly missed him in the end zone, further escalating concerns about fan behavior inside the stadium. The aftermath was swift. According to reports, the fan who struck Jackson and Hopkins was indefinitely banned from Highmark Stadium and from attending games at other NFL stadiums. The league and stadium officials treated the situation as a serious breach of conduct, reinforcing that physical contact with players is not tolerated under any circumstances. Ironically, the game itself flipped dramatically. Despite Baltimore's earlier dominance, the Bills mounted a furious fourth-quarter comeback. Josh Allen led multiple scoring drives and Buffalo ultimately won on a last-second field goal, sending the home crowd into celebration. Though one fan was no longer part of it, the viral misogynistic tirade shows how disrespectful behavior from fans doesn't just ruin the atmosphere at a game, it can have real consequences. One striking example happened during the Eagles' NFC wildcard win at Lincoln Financial Field when a Philadelphia fan crossed the line with a rival supporter and ended up paying the price. The fan, later identified as Ryan Caldwell, was captured on video verbally attacking a female Green Bay Packers fan, Allie Keller, during the game. What started as casual banter quickly escalated into a misogynistic tirade. Caldwell, wearing an Eagles jacket, leaned over and cupped his hands over his mouth, hurling insults that became increasingly personal and aggressive. Keller and her fiancé, Alex Becerra, initially tried to brush it off, enjoying the game and even exchanging some friendly words with nearby fans. But Caldwell's comments continued and grew nastier as the Eagles pulled ahead. The confrontation was tense. Keller and Becerra felt trapped in a hostile environment surrounded by Eagles fans. Keller explained that escalating the situation could have turned physical, and with no security immediately nearby, she worried about being targeted herself. Eventually, the incident was recorded on a cell phone, which helped de-escalate things and provided evidence afterward. The consequences for Caldwell were swift. Once the video went viral, online investigators and journalists traced him to his employer, BCT Partners, a New Jersey management consulting firm. The company condemned Caldwell's behavior, calling it vile, disgusting, and unacceptable, and confirmed that he had been terminated. Randall Pinkett, founder of BCT Partners, emphasized that Caldwell's actions were diametrically opposed to the company's values of respect, dignity, and inclusion. In addition to losing his job, Caldwell faced repercussions from the league. Officials announced that he would never be permitted to attend another Eagles home game, effectively banning him from Lincoln Financial Field for life. The dual consequences reinforce that NFL fans are expected to behave responsibly, and crossing the line can lead to permanent consequences. Caldwell later issued a public apology, acknowledging that what began as playful banter had spiraled out of control. He apologized to Keller, her fiancé, his family, his former employer, and fans of both teams, admitting his words were unforgivable and expressing regret for the incident. Federal Hill assault arrest demonstrates how sometimes being an angry fan crosses the line. One clear example happened in Baltimore after a Ravens vs. Washington Commanders matchup when a fan went from cheering to attacking strangers and faced serious consequences. The fan, John Collis, was captured on video assaulting two young men wearing Commanders jerseys near Cross Street Market in Federal Hill on October 13, 2024. Collis, wearing a Ravens jersey himself, struck the men without provocation, forcing them to flee. When they returned to retrieve personal belongings, including phones and a wallet, Collis attacked again, this time also striking a third man who tried to help. One victim suffered a concussion and memory loss, while the others sustained minor injuries. The attacks were random, unprovoked, and driven solely by team loyalty. Authorities quickly charged Collis with 1 count of first-degree assault and 3 counts of second-degree assault, carrying a combined maximum sentence of 55 years in prison. At his bail hearing, prosecutors described the assault as vicious and humiliating, emphasizing the fear and trauma it caused the victims. The judge denied Collis's request for bail, calling the evidence strong and highlighting the severity of his actions. Collis's history made the situation even worse. He had a prior record of alcohol-fueled assaults. In 2021, he received probation after knocking a man unconscious. And in 2020, he was given probation for a similar incident in Delaware. Additionally, he admitted to daily drug use for 4 years, including the day of the attacks. Following the viral video, his employer, Maury Donnelly and Parinkin, terminated him, leaving him without work in addition to facing legal consequences. In court, Collis pleaded guilty. The judge sentenced him to 10 years in prison with all but 105 days suspended, meaning he had already served the jail portion. Beyond incarceration, he was ordered to complete 5 years of supervised probation, over $4,000 in restitution, 90 DOA meetings, anger management classes, and 100 hours of community service in Baltimore. He also had to enter an inpatient drug treatment program in Sarasota, Florida, followed by outpatient treatment. The agreement prohibited him from monetizing or sharing the viral video of the attack on social media. Baltimore city officials made it clear that Collis's actions were unacceptable. State's Attorney Ivan Bates called the behavior abhorrent and emphasized that hate-filled acts and random violence would not be tolerated. The victims, meanwhile, expressed relief that justice had been served and that the plea held Collis accountable without prolonging further trauma. Collis's attorney added that the resolution also created a path for rehabilitation, aiming to address the underlying issues that led to the attacks. Bobby Wagner's protester tackle shows how some fans take their support too far, and sometimes it puts everyone at risk. One clear example happened during Monday Night Football at Levi's Stadium when a Los Angeles Rams fan ran onto the field carrying what appeared to be a device emitting pink smoke. The incident occurred shortly before halftime during the Rams' 24-9 loss to the San Francisco 49ers, catching players, coaches, and security off guard. As the fan sprinted toward the Rams' sideline, linebacker Bobby Wagner immediately noticed the potential danger. Security personnel were nearby, but seemed unprepared to handle the situation alone. With no time to hesitate, Wagner stepped in, intercepting the fan and delivering a solid hit that stopped the intrusion in its tracks. Rams teammate Takaris McKinley moved in to assist, ensuring the fan could not cause further disruption. Wagner later explained the decision: "That's not making a play. That's keeping it safe. You don't know what that fan got or what they're doing. You see it all the time, and we don't know what they're carrying in their pockets. It's whatever that little smoke stuff is. But that stuff could be dangerous." The impact left a visible mark near the 40 line, a reminder that field invasions can have real physical consequences for both fans and players. Wagner's quick thinking prevented a potentially hazardous situation from escalating. 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan even praised the action, saying, "I saw Bobby Wagner take somebody out. That was kind of cool to see." This was not an isolated event. Earlier in the game, another fan attempted a similar stunt with a pink smoke device, but was stopped by security before reaching the field. Together, the incidents highlighted the growing concern over fans crossing the line from enthusiastic spectators to active threats. The motivations behind the intrusion remain unclear, but the risks were undeniable. A fan running onto the field with a device capable of emitting smoke creates not just a distraction, but a potential safety hazard for players, officials, and other spectators. The aftermath reinforced that NFL stadiums take these breaches seriously. Field invasions are strictly prohibited, and individuals who attempt them face ejection, bans, and potential legal consequences. The Tom Brady laser incident illustrates how disrespectful fan behavior can take many forms, but some actions carry real risk to players in the game. One clear example came during the AFC Championship game at Arrowhead Stadium when a 64-year-old fan used a green laser pointer to target New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady and faced consequences for it. The fan, Dwan Morgan of Lee Summit, pointed a laser at Brady during the nationally televised matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs on January 20th. The beam struck Brady's jersey multiple times, as captured by a video later released by KMBC-TV, while Brady appeared unaware at the moment. The incident quickly drew attention from both teams, league officials, and the public. Lasers are banned at NFL games for good reason. Even handheld devices can cause temporary flash blindness, and direct exposure to the eyes can potentially cause permanent injury. Chiefs officials moved swiftly. Using video footage and eyewitness accounts, they identified Morgan as the suspect. The team banned him from Arrowhead Stadium for life and urged law enforcement to pursue the most serious penalties possible. According to sources, Kansas City police initially considered a disorderly conduct citation, but the Chiefs pushed for a stricter response to deter similar behavior in the future. The league also took the incident seriously. NFL spokespersons confirmed that the matter would be investigated with extra attention paid to laser detection at future events. The incident gained national attention because it occurred during a championship game and demonstrated poor sportsmanship that endangered a player. Military personnel even reached out to Brady afterward, warning that lasers near the eyes could cause irreversible damage. Morgan later appeared in court, pleaded guilty to disturbing the peace, and was fined $500. Stefon Diggs' body slams a fan shows how disrespectful fans sometimes take their actions from annoying to dangerous, forcing players to respond directly. One striking example occurred during a tense AFC divisional round playoff game at Arrowhead Stadium when a fan ran onto the field and came face-to-face with Buffalo Bills wide receiver Stefon Diggs and got stopped in the most direct way possible. The fan, wearing a Kansas City Chiefs jersey, ignored security and sprinted onto the field during a critical moment late in the fourth quarter. With the game tied and tensions high, Diggs didn't hesitate. Using a textbook shoulder tackle, he knocked the intruder to the ground, preventing him from running further or interfering with the play. Security immediately arrived, restraining the fan and escorting him off the field. But the moment had already drawn attention from cameras, commentators, and fans alike. CBS color analyst Tony Romo called it a textbook tackle, noting that Diggs may have prevented the fan from taking an even harder hit from offensive lineman Dion Dawkins, who could have caused serious injury. The incident highlighted how quickly fan misbehavior can escalate. The intruding fan was not just breaking stadium rules, he was putting himself and players at risk. While the specifics of any legal or league penalties were not reported, the fan's actions made it clear that crossing onto the field, especially during a live game, carries immediate consequences. The James Harrison suplex represents how some fan moments go beyond passion and cross into outright recklessness. One of the most infamous examples came on Christmas Eve 2005 during a lopsided Browns-Steelers matchup at Cleveland Stadium when Nathan Mallett decided to storm the field and paid the price in a way that would follow him for years. Mallett, a lifelong Browns fan, had spent the night before partying heavily with friends. After a 3-day binge that included dozens of beers and relentless tailgating, he arrived at the game in a haze of alcohol-fueled bravado. By the fourth quarter, the Steelers were dominating 41-0, and Mallett decided he could do better than the Browns' defense. Sharing his plans with nearby fans and ignoring warnings from a few nearby security guards, he handed his ticket to another fan, passed off his beer, and hopped the fence. He ran from the east end zone toward midfield, barking and taunting with no regard for rules or safety. Backup Steelers tailback Verron Haynes narrowly avoided him, and Browns defensive lineman Gerard Warren tried to push him back. But the spectacle reached its climax when four-time All-Pro linebacker James Harrison intercepted Mallett mid-sprint. Harrison lifted him and suplexed him onto the turf, holding him down until Cleveland police arrived to take him into custody. The moment was captured by cameras and immediately became legendary. Mallett faced serious legal consequences. He was charged with criminal trespassing and sentenced to 5 years of probation, 250 hours of community service, court-mandated Alcoholics Anonymous attendance, and a series of fines. To underscore the severity, he was ordered to spend Super Bowl weekend in solitary confinement, ironically missing Harrison and the Steelers' championship victory. The Browns also banned him from attending home games for the next 5 seasons. But the story didn't end there. Mallett's path of consequences became a turning point. Continued alcohol abuse led to further arrests and jail time, forcing him to confront the lifestyle choices that had fueled his recklessness. In prison, he embraced moral recreational therapy, setting concrete goals for his sobriety, family, and career. Over time, he built a stable life, a long-term marriage, a child, self-employment as a painter, and a commitment to sobriety that has lasted 16 years. Decades later, Mallett had a unique opportunity to close the chapter on his infamous moment. In 2025, he reunited with James Harrison at a candlelit dinner. The two laughed about the tackle, reflecting on how that single moment on the field had inadvertently steered Mallett toward accountability, sobriety, and a productive life. Harrison, known for his intensity and dominance on the field, listened intently as Mallett recounted the night's events and his journey to personal growth. Brawl at FedEx Field demonstrates how disrespectful fan behavior doesn't always stay verbal, and when tempers spill into physical violence, the consequences can be immediate and severe. One such incident unfolded during the Washington Commanders' sold-out home opener against the Arizona Cardinals at FedEx Field, where a confrontation in the stands escalated into a full-blown brawl that quickly went viral. During the game, tensions flared between fans seated in the lower bowl. Video footage shows a man wearing a Baltimore Ravens jersey arguing with a Commanders fan before the situation turned physical. What began as trash talk escalated into shoving, sending multiple people tumbling into a crowded staircase, as surrounding fans yelled and pushed as the chaos spread. Another angle showed a man repeatedly striking a restrained fan while nearby stadium staff hesitated before intervening. The restrained fan was later identified as Martino Honora. According to Honora, the confrontation started when a fan seated in front of him became verbally disrespectful. After exchanging words, Honora said the fan nudged his shoulder. Honora responded by nudging back, at which point another individual shoved the entire aisle, knocking Honora and his girlfriend to the ground. In the confusion, Honora was grabbed from behind and had his arms restrained. Believing the person restraining him was event staff, Honora did not resist until another fan stepped in and struck him multiple times in the face while he was defenseless. Video evidence supported Honora's claim that he was being held when the punches landed. Despite this, Honora said stadium personnel failed to immediately stop the assault. Afterward, as he was escorted out, Honora questioned why the attacker was allowed to return to his seat while he was being ejected. The following day, Honora sought medical evaluation for a possible concussion. The aftermath raised serious concerns about crowd control. CSC, the company providing ushers and event staff, stated their personnel were several rows away when the incident began and claimed the short clips did not show the full context. However, Apex Security Group could not confirm whether their team reached the scene in time. Fans and viewers criticized the delayed response, especially footage showing a staff member watching as the assault continued. Ultimately, law enforcement became involved. According to Commanders officials, security removed the individuals involved and one fan was transported to the hospital before being arrested by Prince George's County Police. Aonora himself was arrested and charged with trespass, disorderly conduct, and second-degree assault after allegedly striking a police officer during his removal, a claim he strongly denies. Aonora maintains that video evidence shows he never threw a punch and was assaulted while restrained. Despite the conflicting accounts, the consequences were decisive. Aonora was permanently banned from FedEx Field, and he later described the experience as humiliating and traumatic, saying the viral footage made reliving the assault unavoidable. Green toy on field shows how disrespectful fan behavior is often dismissed as harmless antics, but when it disrupts the game and crosses into public indecency, consequences follow quickly. One such incident occurred during a Cleveland Browns vs. Cincinnati Bengals matchup at Huntington Bank Field when a fan turned a routine NFL game into a viral spectacle. During a Bengals offensive drive in the second quarter, a fan threw a green adult toy onto the field from the Dog Pound, the Browns' notoriously rowdy East End Zone section. The object landed in clear view of players, officials, and broadcast cameras, immediately halting play. A referee picked it up and tossed it toward the sideline where stadium security removed it from sight to allow the game to continue. The moment spread rapidly across social media, drawing ridicule and criticism as viewers questioned how such an item made it into the stadium in the first place. While the individual responsible at the Browns-Bengals game was not publicly identified, the incident was not isolated. Similar objects were reported on the field during a Colts-Dolphins game in Indianapolis and during a preseason matchup between the Minnesota Vikings and Tennessee Titans. The trend extended beyond the NFL with multiple incidents occurring across WNBA arenas earlier in the year. Those incidents resulted in real legal consequences. In late July, police in Crawford County, Georgia, arrested 23-year-old Delbert Carver after an adult toy was thrown onto the court during a WNBA game in Atlanta. He was charged with disorderly conduct, public indecency, and criminal trespass. In another case, 18-year-old Caden Lopez was arrested at a Phoenix Mercury game after throwing a similar object that struck a man and his 9-year-old niece in the stands. Weeks later, New York police arrested a 32-year-old man from Ohio after a thrown object hit multiple fans during a game at Barclays Center. Although the Browns-Bengals game resumed without further interruption, the league-wide response was clear. Stadiums reinforced screening procedures and leagues reiterated that disruptive behavior, especially involving obscene objects, would not be tolerated. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. And before you leave, don't forget to like this video.